track number 3, and we have our first song on the album credited to Jimmy Hart. This is called We Like to Rock.
Cruising the streets, looking for some action. My radio is blasting on my rock and roll station. They call us juvenile delinquents. They say we're out of control. Juvenile delinquents, 'cause we like to rock and we like to roll.
You know, Jeff, when I think of the pantheon of rock and roll songs about young people rockin' and the adults just don't get us, man, I think of My Generation by The Who. I think of We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. And of course, I think of We Like to Rock by Terry Funk, because who better to say the line, they call us juvenile delinquents. They say we're out of control. Juvenile delinquents, because we like to rock and we like to roll, than a late 30s Terry Funk. Delinquent? Yes. Juvenile? Not so much, Jeff.
Jimmy Hart likes to recycle his material.
Yes.
This was, I believe, I know that We Don't Like School, which we'll talk about later, is recycled, and I sent you the original of that, by the way. I believe that the team of Bobby Eaton and Coco Beware, he was trying to get over as juvenile delinquents, and that was going to be the name of the team. So I believe this was a prototype for a theme song, one of two that are both on this album. I want to take some time to absolutely bury Jimmy Hart in some ways, because I have never been impressed with his songwriting. I find his lyrics to be kindergarten level at times. Where's this? Cruising the streets looking for some action. My radio is blasting on my rock and roll station. Doesn't even rhyme, Jimmy. That doesn't even rhyme. But if you watch Memphis, and I've been on kind of a Memphis history type of thing, because it was just one of those things I never had as a kid and where I grew up. Boy, do they put over Jimmy Hart as being, he's part of the legendary The Gentrys.
Number one hit, Jeff.
Yes, but let me go into that. Yes, no, I do. Because I owned The Gentrys' number one hit, and I'll get into that in a second. But The Gentrys did a song called Keep On Dancing. But The Gentrys are mostly a cover band. Out of, I believe, the Memphis area originally. Don't quote me on that part, but Keep On Dancing. Okay, Jimmy Hart was the lead singer of The Gentrys. He is one of two. He is also one of the principal songwriters of The Gentrys. He did not write any part of Keep On Dancing, nor was he the singer on Keep On Dancing. That was by, I think, their guitar player, who, that was the only song he ever sang on by The Gentrys, and that was their only hit. So what does that say about Jimmy Hart's musical abilities? That's what I mean, but in Memphis, you think he was the mastermind behind The Gentrys. For some reason, I'm just like, and I hate this song. I hate Keep On Dancing for two reasons. One I just alluded to, and I'll get to that in a second. The other is it's a lazy song. It's actually the song done twice, because it wasn't long enough the first time to be able to get put on a 45 and be able to justify the cost. So what they did was they paused, put in a drum fill, and did the song over again. It's only like 3 minutes long, but it's like, I keep on dancing and a prancing. Come on, baby, let me show you how I work. Boom, 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 boom. Dancing and a prancing, dancing and a prancing. It's so dull, and I owned it because back when I was a very young teenager, pre-teenager, back in the day, Andrew, when stone tablets we were writing on in our schoolhouses, on commercials on UHF stations and basic cable, they had things called compilation albums that they would sell to you. 3 cassettes for $19.99, and eventually you could get them on 2 CDs. You had them by K-Tel and other types of people who would organize these types of things. And there was one called, and I found the commercial for this. There, it's called "Rockin' Down the Block," and the commercial is just annoying as hell because it's nothing but white Suburbans, dancing to old '50s songs and stuff like that. But back when I was of this age, there were 2 things that I absolutely loved. Andrew, I loved the Blues Brothers, and any act associated with the Blues Brothers, and your boy loved him some Steve Winwood. And so on this Rockin' Down the Block, there are some great tracks on this. I also added the track list down here. I mean, you had Sam and Dave, you had James Brown, you had Aretha Franklin with Respect. You also had the Spencer Davis Group with Gimme Some Lovin', which was Steve Winwood's first hit at age 14 or 15. I think it might have been 16 when it actually charted. But the Gentrys is a central focus of this commercial, and it's a dreadful, dreadful song. There are some clunkers on this compilation. I mean, you have like a Woolly Bully, and they also have the beginning of what would become a trend in this compilation industry. Like if you ever went to like a grocery store in, I'd say, the mid to late 90s, and they had CDs on the racks there of artists or even just regular compilations of various artists, they would do something where they put the track down and they'd invite the lead singer of the group to come in and re-record it. And so you're not getting the original studio recording of the out. Like you'd get like Chuck Negron coming in and recording a 3 Dog Night tune or something like that, but it's like 60-year-old Chuck Negron singing 3 Dog Night, and it's not the same. It's a little cleaner, because they've taken out all the crackles and pops and smooth that and really done the master track something. So they did that with Louie Louie on this one. I loved Louie Louie as a song at the time. I was just like, what the hell are they doing here? But I can't stand Jimmy Hart.
Well, listen, as someone who talked about an entire album of Jimmy Hart-penned songs on Hulk Rules a few years ago, I know the feeling. In fact, speaking of which, Jimmy Hart, pretty well known for borrowing, shall we say, from other musicians for his own work.
Yes.
Well, apparently he borrowed from himself, because the opening verse that you said earlier, "Cruising the streets, looking for some action, my radio was blasting on my rock and roll station," that was later used almost verbatim in a song on Hulk Rules called "Beach Patrol." "I was walking down the beach, looking for some action, had my radio set on a rap station."
Oh, good God!
So, yeah, Jimmy Hart liked to self-borrow there, apparently, so there you go.
And he liberally borrows on another song that will,
we'll get to that. Get to that, yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But also, for this one, it's funny, for a song called "We Like to Rock," musically speaking, not much rock going on here. I mean, yes. I love a good saxophone solo as much as the next guy, don't get me wrong, but when you have a song called "We Like to Rock," I'm expecting more than just a drum beat and
I'm expecting a driving guitar.
Like where is the shredding guitar solo? Where is the wild riffs? Where is the oomph? There's just no oomph on this one, Jeff.
I mean, this isn't even early 80s synth pop new wave rocking, if you wanted to go that far on it. This is cheeseball 60s we want to rock type thing. And it's not even that, because, Little Richard could slam that piano. This was like, some white bread doo-wop group trying to rock or something. Yeah, this song stinks.